Hi, welcome to Amalgamation Presents World of Warcraft, Deathcraft Edition. Death Knight is a name shared by several organizations of powerful necromancers. These orders share a few things in common, including riding horses with horned skulls and many of the same abilities. Playable Death Knights, however, are specifically Death Knights of the Scourge. The original Death Knights were created for Orgrim Doomhammer by Gul'dan as powerful soldiers of the Horde. These Death Knights were created by placing the souls of the slain warlocks of the Shadow Council into the corpses of fallen Stormwind Knights, the first of whom was Terran Gorefiend. Unlike modern Death Knights of the Scourge, these ghoulish fiends were not battle-hardened warriors. They were insidious necromancers who possessed superior intellect and tremendous magical power. They often favoured the use of terror tactics and reanimated corpses of enemy soldiers who fell in battle to serve them as mindless undead minions. Most of these Death Knights were destroyed during and after the Second War, either killed by the Alliance or transformed into liches by Kil'jaeden. Years after the destruction of Draenor, the immensely powerful Lich King created a new breed of Death Knights, malevolent, rune-wielding warriors of the Scourge. The first and greatest of these was the Lich King's chosen champion, Prince Arthas Menethil, once a mighty paladin of the Silver Hand who sacrificed his soul to claim the Runeblade Frostmourne in a desperate bid to save his people. The rest are primarily made up of other fallen paladins whose souls were twisted and bound to the will of the Frozen Throne. Unlike Gul'dan's Death Knights, these dark champions possess unholy strength. However, they do not possess free will, and their minds are inexorably entwined with and dominated by the Lich King's vast consciousness. Despite the potential loss of free will, some powerful mortals are intrigued by the promise of immortality and pledge their souls freely into the Lich King's service to achieve it. Baron Rivendare is an example of this. In the years since Arthas shattered the Frozen Throne and merged with the Lich King, the power and fury of the Death Knights has only grown. Now these unrelenting crusaders of the damned eagerly await the Lich King's command to unleash their fury on Azeroth once again. Unlike Death Knights of the old Horde, the Scourge's Death Knights are not limited to their use of ranged spellcasting abilities. In addition, these tireless Death Knights are considerably stronger, faster, and more agile than they were in life. However, both generations are equally destructive and terrifying to engage in the field of combat. A new group of Death Knights, the Death Knights of Agharos, was later created by the Lich King to garrison the necropolis of Agharos. The Ebonhold for the ultimate purpose of assaulting the Light's Hope Chapel and destroying the Argent Dawn. In the Wrath of the Lich King expansion, these Death Knights are freed from the will of the Lich King and ally themselves with their former factions. Working closely under the guiding blade of High Lord Darian Mograine and the bolstered Argent Crusade, the newly freed Death Knights have begun their march to Northrend. The Knights of the Ebon Blade is a faction consisting of the renegade Death Knights that broke free of the Lich King's control after the Battle of Light's Hope Chapel. Led by High Lord Darian Mograine, the Knights of the Ebon Blade have allied themselves with the Alliance and the Horde with the help of High Lord Tyrion Fordring of the Knights of the Silver Hand, and have pledged to do their part in defeating their former master, the Lich King. Their main base is Agharos the Ebonhold, taken from the Scourge after breaking free. It should be noted that the Knights of the Ebon Blade are not separate player factions such as the Alliance and Horde. For purposes of gameplay, player-created Death Knights still belong to either the Alliance or Horde, depending on their race and faction. In general, the Death Knight can be considered a hybrid melee class that combines damage dealing and tanking, somewhat akin to warriors. They wear plate armor and are able to dual wield or use two-handed blade weapons. Like druids and monks, they tank without shields. Their tanking mechanics involve high armor and a high chance to parry. Death Knight tanks depend on a combination of high damage abilities in addition to high threat abilities. Like every other class, the Death Knight has 3 different specializations. The differences between them are not as clear-cut as those of other classes, both for PvP and PvE environments. Notably, Death Knights can tank or deal damage regardless of specialization, although a careful selection is still required to bolster their preferred role. In patch 4.0.1, the roles became more defined, with Blood becoming the tank specialization tree and the others becoming DPS. Blood enhances the Death Knight's melee abilities and damage and vastly improves the ability to heal itself. As the name suggests, the special abilities it grants through talents are based on the blood runes. Blood also provides healing utility to party and raids, and has some very useful buffs and debuffs that the Death Knight can cast on others. Blood is considered the tree for soloing and should be given a thought when it comes time to level your Death Knight. Frost enhances melee abilities and focuses on increasing both area of effect and single target damage. It provides some very powerful direct damage abilities. Unholy enhances the Death Knight's diseases and damage over time spells, making them effective at area of effect DPS. It also provides the Death Knight with a ghoul who is a permanent pet, a gargoyle guardian he or she can summon, and stronger diseases. Rune system. Death Knights use a unique rune-based resource system to govern their spells and abilities. 3 rune types exist: Blood, Frost, and Unholy, each with an attached colour and symbol. Using certain abilities exhausts 1 or more runes, starting a cooldown of 10 seconds. After the cooldown, the runes refresh. The haste stat reduces the cooldown of runes. Death Knights can use spells to turn a rune into a death rune, which can be used as a Blood, Frost, or Unholy rune. In addition, whenever they use a rune ability against a foe, it builds up a certain amount of runic power. Runic power is consumed by certain abilities which the Death Knight can use while his or her runes are on cooldown. All abilities that use runic power use a set amount. Death Knights cannot reallocate the number and type of runes. They are fixed to 2 runes of each type. Some notable Death Knights are Arthas Menethil, Alexandros Mograine, Baron Rivendare, Lord Alexei Varov, Darian Mograine, Koltira Deathweaver, Tessarian, Deathbringer Seraphim. This is the last World of Warcraft class edition for now. I will not be doing one on Demon Hunters until the new expansion Legion has been released, as things can change as it gets closer to release, so I'm not going to trust the information that's out there just yet. Next week I shall be starting the lore behind the different races of World of Warcraft. As always, remember, play the game and game to play.